Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Tackle Room. This video Q&A series is going to cover all Angling Trust competitions for the coming 2023 season, where we look into the minds of some of the UK's best anglers that fish our events, whether it be sea, game or course. Today's first episode is going to be with a very special guest, 2022 FishOMania Champion Kristian Jones, where we're going to be covering all things FishOMania. So here we have 2022 FishOMania Champion Kristian Jones. Just like to start, Kristian, thanks for coming on, and just let's have a few questions and see what people think.
Okay, mate. Sam?
So we'll start with the first one. This is sort of more a general question for yourself. How did your FishOMania journey start?
Well, I'm not 100% sure when I did actually fish my first qualifier, but I know what my first qualifier was. I was at Lindome, and it was back when it was still a 300 peg qualifier. So not sure whether it was the last one of the year or whatever one. It used to be always last one of the year, Lindome.
Big match to start with.
300 pegger, yeah. And queuing up, like there was not as many like rolling draws and things like that back then. We're queuing up and you probably take like 45 minutes stood in the queue waiting to draw. And obviously on your first qualifier, it's quite daunting. And I think I drew right in a corner on Loco, which actually my favourite lake at Lindome, but not the greatest of pegs, to be honest. It's a bit too far in the corner. I think I was on peg one. And it was a hard day, never caught a lot, but you know what it can be like on qualifiers. And then it was just one of them. We just gone from there. Even though I did have a bad day, don't really let it get me down in terms of like, I'm still enthusiastic to go and try and enter more qualifiers. So even when I was young, just kept going, kept giving it a try.
So that really gave you the bug then, obviously, with it being such a big match. It was daunting, but at the same time, it's like, let's do more of this.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's just a bit different to go into, say, Western on an open match when you go there and see 300 anglers. That's what sort of got me, interested in fishing the qualifiers.
And when you talk about, obviously, your FishO journey starting, before that, just going back a bit, and you talk about Western especially, do you think that's what really made you push to them levels, getting up there, competing at Western, Partridge, Herronbrook?
Yeah, so Western in particular, I think what I really like about Western and why it's like my favourite venue going to Western is there's just so many different varieties of fish. So there's carp, barbel, F1s, and I think what it taught me quite quick and something I think was a good like lesson in me fishing was how all the different species feed. So, carp feed slightly different to F1s, and then I'd have their own way of feeding and stuff. So I think that helps you then when you go into other venues. So if you go to a venue that's got some hiding, you sort of know how to roughly fish for them and stuff like that. So I think it was a good base in me fishing at Western.
Yeah, so it's more of a versatile venue, as it were. So would you say Western is your favourite FishOMania sort of qualifier venue then?
Yeah, you see, I've never actually done any good at Western in a FishOMania qualifier for whatever reason, even though it's like my home venue as such. But yeah, it's a venue that'd be my first one if I was going to book. Obviously, like the ticket system's changed, and there's going to be one ticket, your first ticket. If it was for me and I was going to book a ticket, I'd be straight on booking Western, 100%.
Yeah, we'll just go into that now quickly. So for those of you guys that don't know and haven't paid attention to all the media going around, FishOMania this year is going to be a one ticket sale for the first sale opening, which is going to be this Friday, the 3rd at 12 p.m. And then it's going to be a free for all ticket sale on Monday, the 6th of February at 12 p.m. But Kristian doesn't need to know that because fortunately, with him winning the FishOMania final last year, he gets a free bursary straight into the final.
Yeah, luckily for me, I've got that big handy thing to be straight back in the final. So it means I can sort of have a year preparing for the final. I'm going to definitely go down to Westwood a couple of times now and fish the festivals and stuff, have a good practice. But I think it's interesting how you're doing the ticket system now. And I think it'll be interesting to see how many tickets are sold on that first
100% agreed there.
Because it'll tell you as well how many anglers there are entering the competition, which I think is interesting as well.
I think the big thing about it, it'll show the popularity of certain venues, especially going into that sort of sale. So, sticking with the same sort of subject, what do you feel is the fairest FishOMania qualifier venue at the minute?
Fairest venue. I think I think to be fair, Western's come to my mind straight away in terms of fair venues. I think the nice thing about Western is you could potentially win on any of the lakes. There
Yeah,
definitely is. Every single lake at Western is definitely capable of winning the match, which I think is a good thing. Um, but there's loads of venues like that, even like venues like Tunnel Barn, Partridge, them sort of F1 venues, Lindome. You genuinely don't know where the winner's going to come from, which I think is good.
yeah,
Obviously,
100%.
sometimes on your bigger kart venues, you can say, "Oh, that MPEG on that lake's going to empty it down the edge." But I generally think on these sort of F1 venues, it could be one from anywhere, and especially at Western, like I say, I think even just thinking about the qualifiers that have been already, I don't think there's a lake that hasn't qualified yet.
Well,
So
exactly, and me and you both know that fishing there that it is very fair venue.
yeah,
Bit of a same sort of era, but what's your most memorable qualifier that comes to mind? Really?
yeah, it'd have to be the first time I qualified.
Yeah,
So that was at Lindome Lakes on Benny's. Obviously, brilliant sort of venue that for the sort of fishing I'm doing all the time. It's a lot of shallow fishing, particularly on Benny's. And I drew peg 8 in the corner, which is a good area. Or
yeah,
anywhere from sort of 2 round to sort of 12, 14, there's always a nice consistent area that lake to catch a lot of fish shallow. So I was really happy. The wind blowing in, proper fancied it. And I remember I actually had Ryan Lingard to my left, not actually on my lake, but on Loco. I
yeah,
think just sort of on that side bank to my left. And obviously, I'd caught quite well during the match. It was one of them on Benny's because everyone catches so many fish. You don't really feel like you're doing that well because
yeah.
even though you're catching a lot, so everywhere you look, there's someone playing a fish. So you don't sort of. I never sort of felt after the match, "Oh, I've won this." But anyway, I think they come and weighed Loco in quite quick, and I went and seen Ryan weigh in, and he weighed 194 pounds. And I thought, well, didn't think I had that much, so I thought we'll just see. But I thought there was probably someone on Benny's that had 250 pounds somewhere because there normally
Yeah.
is. And anyway, they come round, weighed it in, and it was 194 pounds something. So I'm like, well, that's close. Who had the more ounces? And they only had the sheet with Benny's on
Yeah.
and my ounces, and they didn't have Ryan's on. So me and Ryan, even though we were on different lakes, we'd pretty much drew next to each other, and we were within a couple of ounces each way. But neither of us, even after we'd weighed, knew who'd won.
Yeah. Which way?
So it was between two, and then obviously we were packing our gear away next to each other. It was a bit of a funny one, but luckily for me that day, and unfortunately for like Ryan, it just got beat by 2 ounce. But he's a great angler, Ryan. You've obviously fished in a FishOMania finals and stuff. Again, he took it well. Do you know what I mean? And it
Exactly.
was one of them. It was crazy in the final for the first time, and I think that's probably got to be my most memorable one because of not only qualifying for the first time, just that how
Yeah.
close it was and stuff. It was crazy, really.
Exactly. Just a quick one before we do move on. We've got two brand new venues to the schedule this year.
Yeah,
We are going back to Balding's Pools at Bridgenorth, and we're also going to a new venue at the Glebe, which I know you've got a little bit of experience on. What do you
yeah.
think? What do you think about the venues? Obviously, I don't know whether you've been to Balding's or not, but I know that you have been to the Glebe.
Yeah, it's surprising. I haven't actually been to Baldings before, but I know a lot of people, who go to Western fish at Baldings as well, and I know a few of the lads from Muncore fish Baldings, and they all talk about it being a good venue. A lot of big F1s, really
Yeah.
big old F1s, some big car, and they say it's again a venue where you could probably win it off a few different lakes and stuff, and it's quite a. I think that could be quite a good one. It's one that I'd definitely booked the ticket for this year
Yeah.
if I was gonna fish the qualifiers, yeah.
100%. What do you think about the Glebe? Obviously,
Oh yeah,
big
yeah.
fish venue, kind of
That's
enjoyable fishing.
yeah. It's always a popular venue as well. People love it at the Glebe, especially with it being a members only
Yeah,
venue. People get a chance to go and have a fish on there, and the fishing can be phenomenal on its day. Load of
that's
big
it.
carp, edge fishing, short fishing, feeder. Brilliant venue, yeah.
Yeah. So now we'll go on to the big thing. What did it take to win the FishOMania final from the start, from the qualifier? I was at the qualifier, actually, as you probably
Yeah.
remember. But just tell the guys that are watching, really, how it all panned out and how it went into the final and what you did to obviously get the
Yeah.
win.
So I think the qualifier that I actually won at Westwood, I think it was quite a way into it. I'd probably fished. I can't remember exactly, but I definitely fished a good few qualifiers before that. So I entered a lot of them.
I've got a feeling there's about 3 qualifiers left after that one.
Yeah, yeah. So I'd maybe fished about 10 qualifiers before that qualifier. So it was quite a long way into it. But obviously, going to Westwood, it's a venue I've fished quite a bit, suits my style of fishing. I was looking forward to going. And I really wanted a peg on Swallow Lake because I actually, in a Maven match this qualifier early in the year, I drew a great peg on Swallow and didn't get the best out of my peg and didn't have a good day. So I sort of wanted a bit of redemption on that lake because I felt like I'd. So luckily I drew on Swallow. Peg, I think I was on peg 27 or 28. I'm not actually 100% sure which one. And it's just one of them days where everything that I tried just sort of worked. And it's normally the case on a qualifier when you're going to win, you're going to, catch on everything you do. And it's just going to be one of them days. And I just had a nice day's fishing, short and hard pellets to start with, a couple of fish shallow while I just rested my short line. But what you tend to find on that lake is the big carp come in late on and some massive fish in that lake. So that was in the back of my mind. And especially on the peg I drew, I had a really good edge down to me right, plumbed up well. And I fed ground bait and maggots down the edge, and I caught you were behind me watching with James filming and stuff. I had some massive fish up to well over £15 and managed to catch 190 odd pound again and qualify.
Yeah, it was really good to watch, actually, mate. So going into the final itself, was it daunting? Obviously, you'd already been in a final previous to that, but with a brand new venue. Just talk a little bit about the actual final venue and what you thought about the lake.
Yeah, so Falcon at Westwood, all the lakes at Westwood are stuffed with fish. They're all like quite, I'd say, relatively fairish sort of lakes in terms of there's a lot of fish to catch everywhere. There are obviously better areas and worse areas, but so I felt like it was definitely a good venue for the final. I think the only thing what people were sort of weren't sure about is if it wasn't enough variety in terms of methods. But actually, as it turned out on the day, there was a few different methods that worked well. And just really looking forward to it more than anything. I don't tend to try and get like too overly worked up about it or nervous. I just try and think about it like it's a fishing match. Go and try and fish me peg. Try and keep calm. Try and
100%.
Think through everything clearly. Because I think if you worry about the cameras or the money that you fish for, stuff like that, you tend to then not fish the best of matches. And now I've fished a couple of finals. I feel like with each one, I am getting a little bit more relaxed and just go and fish it as a match.
Yeah.
And just really looking forward to it more than anything. Like I say, Alex, just couldn't wait to get on my peg and just have a go because I know, again, like I say, the venue really suited my sort of fishing. I was confident I could do well.
100%. And most people have obviously seen through the Sky Sports coverage how the match went, and obviously with a check behind you, that proves it all, doesn't it, really? So winning the actual final itself, what did it mean to you? And obviously your family, I know your mum and dad, Carl and Liz, really supported you all the way through it. So.
It meant a lot. I think for me personally, like I put a lot of effort into me fishing over it. Like even just, I'm only 23 now, but I've probably been fishing the qualifiers for a good 7-8 years. So it's probably 7 years going regularly to the qualifier. So I've really put a lot of time into FishOMania already. So really made up to qualify and get it, to win the final. And especially just nice to, when people sort of say to you, you'll have a chance of winning that one day, but you don't really think, like I said this in the interview with Sky, you don't really think until you win it that you're going to do it. And then obviously for me mum and dad, my dad in particular took me everywhere when I first started fishing, literally up and down 100%. The country.
I think your dad was more of a figure than you were a lot of the time, especially fishing the winter leagues at Arranbrook. Would always have a chat with your dad as well as you and everything like that.
And then obviously like my mum, very sort of supportive of that. You know, never moaned that my dad was, you know, away at weekends.
Yeah.
She just wanted me to go and have good days fishing, and yeah, they've obviously supported me massively, mum and dad. So they were very proud that I've won. So it's a nice little reward for them. And then also I had my nan sat behind me on the day, which was nice because she was very ill at the time. And I was just glad that she got to see that as well.
It's every positive, mate, out of it, and that's what it's about at the end of the day. So how's FishO changed your fishing? Like, from winning the final, how has it differed your day-to-day sort of life, going to open matches, filming, whichever?
Yeah, obviously you get a lot of people coming up to you and saying, well done. Even now, like, people who I haven't seen about on the bank since will come up to me and say, well done, mate. So that's obviously nice. But in general, just more of the same, just gotten back to me usual, been doing me coaching and just enjoying me fishing still, just pushing again to, you know, try and do well again next year.
Yeah, I think that's one of the main things that people don't realise. If you're not enjoying it, you don't get your results, do you, at the end of the day? I think that's the main thing that people need to understand is go out there and enjoy yourself more than stress about the winning all the time.
Yeah, and as long as you enjoy it, as long as you're happy, you know, you put the time in and you go and you, don't let it get on top of you. You the results just come and you know what I mean? It's just part and parcel of enjoying what you're doing.
Yeah, 100%. So now we've got a little question from one of the members of public that's come through social media from a lady called Kelly Walker. Bit of a generic question, really. What did you spend the 50k on?
Well, I bought my van. I said that I was going to get a new van. I needed some, because obviously I do a lot of miles traveling about fishing, so just thought I'd treat myself with a new van. 100%. And then other than that, I've just been sensible with it. I've just sort of put it away and didn't really want to spend it. It's just nice for me, obviously, trying to make a living out of fishing as well. I've got a bit of money behind me, and it just means that, you know, I can continue doing that for, you know, hopefully just be able to keep going and for as long as I can, just doing that, because I obviously really enjoy it.
Yeah, definitely. So obviously you won last year. What are your aspirations for this year's final? Obviously you've already said that you're looking to go back to Westwood, fish some of the festivals and stuff like that in preparation. But what are your aspirations? Is it to do the same again? Or just like you're saying, just enjoy yourself, get out there and just go fishing?
Yeah, obviously I'm going to try as hard as I can to try and win again. I think everyone who's in the final is going to want to try and win. So that's definitely be nice to win it again. But like you say, just it's one of them in fishing. I think in terms of like you can go to these events and you might not get a draw on the day and things like that, and you're never going to be in the race to win or whatever. You just got to go, like, and how I try and do it. Just I'm going to just go fishing, enjoy me fishing, and hopefully again get some good results again.
Yeah, guaranteed.
You can't. I just think with fishing, you can't really control when it's going to happen. You've just got to keep plugging away. And
that's one of the things, and it's one of the most questioned things around, isn't it? Fishing will never be a fair sport because you are dealing with wildlife at the end of the day, aren't you? That's the main thing, and I think the best anglers out there, like yourself, like your Jamie Hughes, like your Andy Bennett, you understand the wildlife more than you understand the fishing. I think that's a comment that doesn't get used a lot. But it's the understanding of fish, isn't it, at the end of the day?
Yeah. And like I say, just understanding that you just got to keep like going, knocking on the door, and then you'll get your chance as well. Like one day you'll get, like I did at the final, got on a peg where I had a good edge line, and the carp wanted to come in and feed late on, and I caught some big fish, and that's when it's your day.
100%. So if you could give any advice to a junior angler, obviously going forward, what would it be?
One thing I always say is just asking a lot of questions. So I always ask a lot of questions to anyone, even like, say, for example, yesterday I went fishing and I didn't have the greatest of days, and Robbie Griffiths next to me caught really well. If that ever happens to you as a angler, I would just say, go and ask them how have they caught, what have they done different, and just try and keep learning all the time, keep picking up tips, and And I just think by asking questions again and just enjoying what you're doing, you'll learn in no time, and you'll win a lot of matches by doing that.
Yeah, really agreed with you there, mate. So we've now got a question from both of our good friends, actually, Mr. Phil Coventry. Great guy. Do you agree?
Yeah, Terence.
So Phil's question is, who is your biggest inspiration in fishing?
So I've already mentioned my dad. I think he's a
Yeah.
massive influence, even though he's not a fisherman. Obviously, just
I don't know, mate. He fished an open against me once, and he held himself.
yeah. He has fished before, but he's not a fisherman as such. Not a match angler, and he doesn't do a lot of fishing. But he's been a big influence on me, just from sort of taking me about and just supporting me in my fishing early on. But in terms of the way I fish and my style of fishing, I'd say Andy Bennett's also another big influence on me fishing, because I fish with him a lot. We've fished, fishing at Partridge and just in and around the Northwest, fishing him a lot growing up, and even more so now. And he is probably, in my opinion, the best angler in the country at the style of fishing what we do. They're sort of pole fishing, F1s and carp.
Yeah.
And there's no one better than him. And he's taught me a lot. And also a lot of the way I fish is just sort of from watching him, watching videos that he's done. And that's just molded the way I fishing with Andy Bennett. So I think he's really another big influence in terms of the fishing side of it.
Yeah, 100%. So there's your answer, Covo. I've asked it for you. The next question, what's next for Kristian Jones?
Yeah, I think it's similar answer to what I said before about my aspirations going forward, just sort of more of the same. Something that I'm, doing like a lot more of my coaching, and quite a bit more sort of filming, work. Hopefully looking to start doing more sort of videos for my own personal YouTube channel at some stage as well. So yeah, just more of the same, mate. More fishing, more coaching, and just keep enjoying it, mate. More of the same.
100%. And finally, we'll have a final question, mate. Is there any other Angling Trust competition that you'd like to win in the future?
Yeah, I think there's a few, mate. Obviously, going to try and enter a few of the Silverfish qualifiers. I haven't actually done any this year. I have done them in the past. I'm going to definitely try and do some more of them. But we've also got the Winter League final at Decoy in the Drains coming up soon that I'm fishing. So it'd be nice to win that as well.
Yeah.
Going to put a little bit of effort in, go down and practice. So definitely be nice to win that with my team, Drennan Northwest.
Yeah. Do you feel that the team itself, obviously we fished against you guys at Heronbrook, you put in performances week in, week out. Do you think you can go and do that at Decoy? And obviously
100%. We've got the anglers to definitely, do well. We won the commercial national a few years ago. So we have been having some good results. We've been doing well on the leagues at Heronbrook. So, and also the team that will be fishing on the Drains, we've got some really good lads at that style of fishing as well. So given half a draw, I can't see why not. We couldn't go and do well.
Yeah, 100%. Really good luck to you on that one, mate. Because I think your team is, in particular, if you get that draw, you'll be somewhere up there, definitely.
Cheers, Alex.
So thanks for the Q&A, mate. That's been really helpful, and hopefully it's helped everyone that's obviously going to watch it going forward. I'll just put a reminder out there to you guys that obviously first ticket sales for FishOMania go out on the 3rd of February at 12 p.m. and then the free-for-all on Monday, the 6th of February at 12 p.m. So good luck to all you guys, and thanks, Kristian, for coming on.
No worries, Alex. Good luck to everyone on the qualifiers.